Good morning, everyone. This is Jeff from the Cyber Pro podcast, where industry leaders share their insights. It's 5 questions in about 8 minutes because hackers never sleep. So let's dive in. Question number 1, Andre, good morning.
Morning.
In a few sentences, can you please tell us who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. My name is Endre Walls. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer for Customers Bancorp and Customers Bank. My responsibility is managing our security operations organization, including cyber governance, digital architecture, compliance, and our security elements, basic security elements, securing over $18 billion of assets domestically for a national bank.
Wonderful. What would you say is the best thing about being a CISO of a company in finance during these crazy times?
Yeah, we've seen everything. And I think, there's been, thanks to PPP and some of the financing programs, there has been no lull in our business. So from a cybersecurity standpoint, we're seeing everything from, all kinds of attempts to fraud to all kinds of security hack events and trying to get at our infrastructure, trying to take money from people everywhere from Thailand to Russia to pretty much all of South America. It's been pretty lively. And while we've all been working at home, which is, a little difficult, it's been pretty neat to see just the variety of attack attempts that have been made over the last year.
Yeah, I like your word, neat. That's a neat adjective to describe that. Well, so you got right into it, right? So cybersecurity, we've been hearing from a lot of folks directly and indirectly in the cyberspace, has always been a concern, but now it's really becoming a top concern. Tell us what that means to you.
Well, I know that it's become a top concern because there's money involved now, right? And there's reputations involved, and you see companies losing a lot of customers and companies losing a lot of time and money and facing fines and that sort of thing. But when I think about cybersecurity, what it means to me is it's a discipline, that a series of processes and procedures that you leverage in your organization to help the organization protect itself from itself in a lot of cases. And good cybersecurity is when you're able to mix the discipline of security with the operational processes of the business. When those two things are aligned, you create this intersection that is a secure intersection, secure in its very DNA.
Yeah, and that's tough sometimes, right? Because business objectives don't always align with security objectives as well. So sometimes that can be a little bit of a battle.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Well, question number 4 is a very timely concern that's coming up these days. So what insights about how security is not about technology anymore? And in other words, bad guys are now going after the people or the endpoint users behind that technology. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think we've seen over just the last 5 years, the shift in focus for cyber criminals from organizations, infrastructure, software, and tools to people. And so when we look at things like Verizon's DBIR, the top 2 items that were highlighted were, number 1, misdelivery, and number 2, misconfiguration. Both of these are human vectors. These are people who are misdelivering things like MPI and PII because of a lack of processing controls, or they're misconfiguring tools and tech and enabling hackers to get at people, like phishing and malware and that sort of thing. So I think that the human factor has to be accounted for in an organization. You have to build a security culture. So today's true cybersecurity effort should be about building that culture.
Yeah, one of the things that you briefly touched on in your response, and maybe you can expand on that a little bit, is how technology certainly is critical to the defense of any system, but that the weak link nowadays has shifted, as you mentioned, from the hardware itself to the endpoint user. Care to share any thoughts on that?
Sure. I mean, security has to come out of the closet, out of the shadows, as it were, right? It used to be that, cybersecurity folks were kind of the folks working in the back room, watching the monitors, seeing everything that's going on. I think now it needs to be a much more externalized function, awareness and training for employees, bringing people into the idea of what they can do to keep themselves secure, both at home, because now home networks are a vector in our remote work reality, and in work, finding good work habits and good ways to maintain strong security. That needs to be a collaborative effort where people feel enrolled in the idea of being part of their company's security program.
Yeah, well put. Well put. Thank you for that. On that, if folks are interested in learning a little bit more about you, Andre, about your business and your bank, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. Our bank's website is customersbank.com. You will see that we are the #2 lender in the nation in PPP loans, something we're very proud of. So we've done an excellent job of helping keep American businesses open. And my personal website is my name, andrewalls.com, which is ENDRE. And of course, you have to use HTTPS because I am security.
Nice plug. Appreciate that. And our final question of the day: what is your favorite piece of retro technology that brings you joy?
I would have to say that there is nothing in the world better than the Super NES, Super Nintendo. I spent a lot of time playing video games. I loved having to take the eraser to clean the cartridge, and how sometimes just blowing on it would make it work. I just think that retro video games are the best thing ever. And it's great that now my kids get to experience it as well, because we have that little console with the ROM that has, like 200 games on it. But video games, they stretch your imagination, they work on your reflexes, they're great. And the hyper realism that we have today, because I am a Madden champion, so anyone who wants to come at me for Madden, please do. But I just love video games, and Super NES was always my favorite.
A challenge someone will accept.
Yes.
Well, brilliant. I wanted to thank you for your time today. We're going to wrap this up by letting our viewers know that the Cyber Pro podcast posts 3 to 4 episodes every week from different folks who are offering different perspectives on the cybersecurity world. So we wanted to thank you for your time and your viewership. Please come back and check out more episodes and insights from the Cyber Pro podcast. Andre, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.